Hey guys, so I'm Eva and I'm an international secretary and part of the international economy here at Uppsala. And I'm here to inform you guys a little bit about what to expect during Valborg if you're either confused or you just want to know some more. So let me break it down for you. As you may know, Valborg or Valpurgis Eve is on the 30th of April every year. And when people say, what are you going to do for Valborg, you might think they mean that actual day. But here in Uppsala, Valborg is a little bigger than that, and we tend to celebrate at least 2 days before and usually the day after. So all in all, you have 4 days. These are called a couple of different things, but basically, 2 days before Valborg is known as Skvalborg. 1 day before Valborg is known as Kvalborg, and the actual day is known as Valborg. And then the 1st of May, there's a little different things and different names for it, and you can either call it 1st of May, you can call it Finalborg, you can call it Katastrofalborg, which basically means it's the catastrophe of everything, or the big finale, it doesn't really matter. And all these days have different things you tend to do. So Kvalborg and Skvalborg usually contain a lot of different activities. Most of the nations have what they would call festivals, which is a celebration that goes over many days. Some nations have specific events on different days, but usually you need to get tickets to all these things unless you have a friend with a KK card, then you can get past the queue. But most of them also allow you to stand in line at the time of the actual event. And my best tip for you is to check out their different Facebook sites, check out all the different nations or nationsguiden, and see what you like to do. There's usually also a lot of different bands, usually pretty big Swedish bands if you're into Swedish culture like that, but sometimes international bands as well. Finally, Valborg, the big day. Valborg usually has a lot of different elements, but I'm thinking I'm going to run through the basic ones. So if you're into that, most people start off their day with a champagne breakfast. It doesn't have to be champagne, you can drink orange juice if you want to. The thing that people usually do is that they gather at someone's house and people bring different parts of a breakfast brunch meal, sort of like a potluck. Somebody might bring donuts, bread, juice, whatever, and you sort of eat breakfast together and get excited for the day. After that, a lot of people go to what we call forsränningen, which is sort of like a river rafting thing, and they are usually themed. They're pretty cool. Some of them are sturdy, some of them are not at all sturdy, but pretty cool in the design. And you can watch them go through this one, and they go down 2 falls, and it's pretty fun to see if they fall in or not. So that's a thing you could also do. After river rafting, there are 2 different options that a lot of people tend to do on Valborg. The first option is that you go to Ekonomikenparken or Ekoparken. What people usually do there is they sit down, bring a blanket, they hang out with their friends, they usually bring something to eat. Otherwise there's food trucks with like donuts, burritos, kebab, anything you sort of want. And it's just a big day party with lots of people and lots of friends. The second option that a lot of people do is that they go to a sea lunch, which is a herring lunch. And as you may know, herring is a traditional Swedish food. It's a small little fish that they put in different types of juices, I want to say. But it's actually pretty good, and you eat it with sour cream and potatoes. And it's like a formal gask thing. You get dressed up, you sing songs, and then afterwards the nations go together up to Carolina del Vida, which is the big library, where there is the traditional mässpåtagning, which literally means the putting on of hats, where everyone puts on their studentmössa. And a studentmössa is one of these things. It's what people use in Sweden when they graduate. Usually people wear the fully white ones. And it's traditional when you graduate high school that you put it on Valborg. After that, you can listen to Curator Curatorum, who is the big boss of all the different nations, when he or she has their speech to the spring, which is usually pretty fun. And then after that, you can either go home or go back to Ekonomikenparken, but a thing a lot of people do is the champagne gallop, or champagne gallop. And when you hear this, you might think, are we going to ride horses and drink champagne? Nobody knows. Well, no. Traditionally, or so I've heard, the Champagne Gallop is from people running from Carolina del Norte down to the nations. But usually there are three nations who hold this, and it is Östgötanation, Stockholms nation, and also Snärkes nation, Södermanland Nerikes. And basically what it is there's usually a live band. You can buy cheap champagne. It's not champagne, it's sparkling wine. And you can either drink it or spray it, and it's a super party. But one thing that you need to think about is that it gets pretty wet. So my main tips are: one, bring sunglasses, because you will get champagne in your eyes and it tends to sting. Step two, or tip two, is wear proper shoes. Don't wear sandals, ballerina shoes, high heels, because a lot of the different bottles break, and so there's glass on the floor, and you don't want to be accidentally stepped on or get glass on your feet, because it can sort of ruin your day. My third tip is to leave as many of your valuables as you can at home, because there is a wardrobe, but the line is usually pretty long, so a main tip is to just take what's necessary. And my fourth tip is wear clothes that you would be okay with throwing away afterwards, because you will get doused in champagne and different drinks, and you can either get in the shower with your clothes on and then wash them, or you can just throw them away. It's pretty much up to you, but they will stink. And so my final tip is bring a poncho. If you want to get as little wet as possible, my best tip is to just bring a poncho. And finally, after the Champagne Gallop, the option always exists: go back to Ekonomikenparken. Or what a lot of people do is they hang out with their friends, they grill, they eat something, and then there's always the option to go out to one of Uppsala's many clubs that are open that night. And if you have any questions about what clubs might be open, just check the Nationsguiden, Nation Guide, and you'll get all the information you need. And then on the 1st of May, there are different things you can do. Basically, there are two categories. Either there will be a May dinner, which is a formal gask, or you can go to a thing called Räkan, which is what Gothenburg Nation have. And Räkan is also technically a gask, but it's mostly a party. But either way, most of the nations have some sort of club afterwards. So you can celebrate the last day with a bang if you're up for it. The most important part of Uppsala's Valborg: drink every other water. There are free water bottles at all the different nations, so you will never go thirsty. And have fun. Valborg is something in Uppsala that you never forget, and definitely part of the Swedish experience.